Imagine being a gifted driver wanting to have your name whispered as the next big thing, only for destiny to deal a cruel blow. Robert Kubica, the boy from Poland who had climbed from nothing to Formula One stardom, had it all: the speed, the talent, the determination. But in a split second, it all changed. From winning his first Grand Prix to sitting in the cockpit for what would become his final competitive season, Kubica's story isn't just about racing. It's about resilience, heartbreak, the quiet pain of what could have been. Robert Kubica was born in Krakow, Poland, on December 7, 1984. As a kid, Robert first got into cars after spotting a cool little off-road vehicle in the street. But unlike other drivers, Kubica didn't have an easy start in racing. He didn't come from a wealthy family. In Poland, rallies are way more popular than F1, so it was pretty unusual for a kid to be in circuit racing. Robert's love for the sport kept growing, so his dad saved up and bought him a go-kart. Kubica couldn't officially race until he turned 10, but once he hit the track, it was obvious he had something special. In his first 3 years, he won 5 Polish junior championships. At 14, he became the first foreigner to win the International Italian Junior Championship. He also came second in the European Junior Karting Championship and won the Junior Monaco Kart Cup twice in a row. Slowly, his name grew, not just in Europe, but globally. While other kids sported flashy helmet designs, Kubica stuck with a plain one to save money, ensuring his father could afford essentials like tires. In 2000, he started as a test driver in a Formula Renault 2000 car, kicking off his professional career. And in 2002, he became one of the first drivers to join the new Renault driver program and had an awesome year, finishing as a runner-up in Formula Renault 2000 Italy series. Everything was going great until his debut in the Formula 3 Euro series in 2003. Kubica had a road accident in Poland that left him with a broken arm and titanium screws holding it together. After a long and intense recovery, Kubica made his comeback. He still had some pain, and honestly, he wasn't expected to achieve much. After all, he was racing with essentially one fully functional arm. But Kubica's resilience shone through. Not only did he adapt, but he also won his first race back. It was an incredible testament to his determination and talent, which would become hallmarks of his career. That season, he snagged another podium and scored points in a few more races, ending up 12th in the championship. Given that he had missed out on 6 of the 20 races, it was a phenomenal achievement. In 2004, Kubica continued the Formula 3 Euro Series, grabbing a pole in Macau and finishing second in the race. Although he only finished 7th in the championship, his performances caught the attention of F1 teams. Nardi offered him a test at the start of 2005, but due to the car development issues, the opportunity fell through. Later, Kubica switched to the Formula Renault 3.5 series with the Epsilon Euskadi team, where he faced top drivers like Pastor Maldonado and Karun Chandok. But seriously, this series became the stage where Kubica's potential truly flourished. 4 wins, 11 podiums, and 3 poles secured him his first professional championship. That year, Nardi once again invited him to test an F1 car during the free practice session in China. But again, bad luck struck. His super license didn't arrive in time. Fortunately, Renault later gave him a shot to test the title-winning R25 in Barcelona. This opportunity paved the way for Kubica to join BMW as their 3rd driver in 2006. Driving in free practice sessions, he impressed everyone with his consistency and skill, proving he was ready for the big stage. Then came the German Grand Prix, where crash and rolling Jacques Villeneuve created an unexpected opening. BMW needed a replacement driver for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and Kubica got the call. He was about to become the first Polish F1 driver in history. This was his one-shot opportunity, and he couldn't waste it. In qualifying, he ended up ahead of his experienced teammate Nick Heidfeld. The race, He tackled the rain and crossed the line in P7. But it's Kubica we're talking about, and if everything is going well, then it really isn't. Post-race inspections revealed his car was underweight by just 2 kilograms, leading to disqualification. It was a harsh blow, but Kubica's performance had already made a strong impression. Villeneuve had been underperforming all year, and with Kubica having done so well in Hungary, it was the perfect setup for Villeneuve to leave. For once, Kubica was in the right place at the right time. In the next race in Turkey, he qualified 9th, but a tyre choice mistake cost him a points finish. It was at Monza, in his third F1 race, where everyone got to know who Kubica was.
Underway. They're off. Schumacher on the left. Watch out for Raikkonen on the right. Now look at Kubica going aggressive on Massa. Kubica is past Massa. And it looks to me like Kubica's up to 4th place. Can he make the chicane though? Yes, he can. As Kubica goes past his teammate, the Polish driver, Robert Kubica, in only his 3rd Grand Prix, is up into 3rd place. So who's leading this Grand Prix? A Polish driver by the name of Robert Kubica. Here's Alonso though, right on the tail of Kubica. This is a massive test now.
They're both in the pits at the same time.
Get him in front of Kubica, that's the first task. The Kubica in the pits, Montero, and they're side by side. Right, Alonso on the right, Kubica on the left. It's a drag race as to who's going to get the place here. But Alonso is so determined here. He's driven by anger, and it looks like he's back out in front of Felipe Massa as well. No, Alonso is out of this Grand Prix. He's had a massive engine failure down at the first chicane. Listen to the crowd as we take a look at the replay of Kubica crossing the line.
At just 21 years, 9 months, and 12 days old, Kubica became the 2nd youngest driver to get a podium, right after Alonso, and the first since 1977 to do it within his first 3 races. The Polish driver was the new star on the track. Even though he didn't score any points in the last 3 races of the season, people definitely had high hopes for what he could do in the future. By 2007, BMW made a big leap forward and had the 3rd fastest car on the grid, putting Heidfeld and Kubica in a good spot. And after a forced retirement in Australia and a tricky race in Malaysia, Kubica started to find his pace with the new car in Bahrain, Spain and Monaco. The Polish driver managed to remain finished in the top 6. Kubica was gaining confidence and building consistency, and everything seemed to go well, right? Then came the Canadian Grand Prix, where something real insane was about to unfold. Kubica qualified 8th, while Heidfeld was 3rd. During the race, Kubica went in for an early pit stop, and after a safety car, he was in 15th, right behind Jarno Trulli. A lap after the race resumed, Kubica, right behind Trulli, tries to pass, only to lose control. The crash was humongous. Safety cars and ambulances were out, and everyone was fearing the absolute worst. Kubica was quickly extracted from the remains and was rushed to the hospital. By some miracle, he was conscious and talking after that crash. The initial reports hinted at severe injuries, with whispers of a serious leg fracture spreading like wildfire. But it turned out to be just a sprained ankle. Maybe luck was by his side this time. But believe it or not, this wasn't even the worst Kubica would have to go through. That was still yet to come, and so was his best. Despite the wreckage, Kubica missed only 1 race in Indianapolis, where he handed over his seat to a young rising Sebastian Vettel. Yeah, no one knew that rookie. But in France, Kubica made his return to the track. And not only did he return, he came back stronger than ever. In fact, he finished 4th in 2 races back-to-back and scored points in 6 of the last 8 races of the season. By the end of the year, he finished 6th in the championship with 39 points, just behind Nick Heidfeld with 61. I mean, it's a solid performance for his first full season in F1, wouldn't you say? But while that season had its highs, 2008 was where Kubica truly began to shine. He was unstoppable, outperforming Heidfeld and making his mark with a series of incredible performances. He finished second in Malaysia and scored his first ever pole position in Bahrain. It was a season where Kubica's star rose to new heights. But it was in Canada during the 2008 Grand Prix that Kubica truly made magic happen. Instead of getting PTSD driving on that track, Kubica went out and managed to take the lead. Amidst the chaos, the safety car came out, reshuffling the race. As the safety car pulled out, Kubica was in the perfect position. He made a spectacular move, moving up the ranks and eventually claiming the lead. With his pit stop strategy executed flawlessly, Kubica took the victory in Canada. Just 1 year earlier, he was crawling out of one of the scariest crashes F1 had ever seen. Fast forward, and here he was, taking his first ever win in the same place. That victory would also propel him into the lead of the World Championship. BMW Sauber wasn't the fastest on the grid, but he was driving that with heart and determination. However, despite all his effort, the Ferraris and McLarens were just too strong, and Kubica would eventually lose the lead in the next race. Kubica mathematically had the chance to win the championship until the penultimate race of the season. He collected more podiums throughout the season, finishing second again in Monaco and making sure to be competitive in every race. He ended up fourth in the championship, with 75 points, just behind Hamilton. Not bad for a driver with a car that was frankly not the fastest on the grid. Going into 2009, expectations were high, and all eyes were on Kubica. But then, the game changed. The 2009 season saw massive regulation changes, and BMW, once a top contender, tumbled to the back of the grid. Kubica and teammate Heidfeld found themselves scraping just to score points. Still, in true Kubica fashion, he found a way to shine, snatching a podium in Brazil. He finished the season 14th. By the end of the year, BMW announced their departure from F1, leaving Kubica stranded, alone and without a team. And to keep himself sharp and looking for more challenges, Kubica turned to the sport that's big back at home, rallying. And when he was trying to find his rhythm there, out of nowhere, F1 called again. Renault, looking to rebuild, bought Kubica back in 2010. It wasn't the flashiest project, but Renault was a stable team, and that's all Kubica needed. He kept racking up points with solid performances, but the car just wasn't up to par. Rumors swirled that he might join Ferrari, taking over from Felipe Massa, but well, it's Kubica we're talking about. Bad luck followed him once again as Ferrari decided to re-sign Massa. Despite his best efforts, Kubica finished 8th in the championship, just 6 points behind Nico Rosberg and 8 points behind Massa. The question remained, what could Kubica have done with the Ferrari? But Kubica didn't let that hold him back. He kept proving his worth and clinching a 3rd place finish at the Rally di Andorra, showing that he still had the drive. At least in rallying, our man was doing well. It was early 2011, February 6th, just days before the new season began. Fate had something huge for him in store.
Formula One driver Robert Kubica has been seriously injured in a rally crash just 2 weeks out from the start of the new season.
Kubica's Skoda was literally stabbed by the guardrails. His co-driver, Jacob Gerber, miraculously walked away unscathed. But Kubica was trapped inside the car, not responding. The rescue team reached after an hour, and the rescue operation was long and difficult. Kubica was eventually pulled from the wreckage and rushed to the hospital, where doctors found multiple fractures in his leg, with his right arm being the most damaged. Doctors feared that he might lose his arm. Kubica's racing career was thrown into uncertainty, and more importantly, his life was hanging in the balance. Investigations revealed the horrific details of the crash. Kubica's car hit the guardrail once, bounced off, and then struck it again, causing the barrier to slice through the cockpit and through his body. He was a victim of yet another brutal crash. It was as if fate would never let him rest. After a couple of days, the doctors gave some hope. Kubica's life was not in danger, and after a week of multiple surgeries, they managed to reconstruct Kubica's hand. While the storm had passed, there was this question: would he ever race again? Kubica's 2011 season was over before it even began. The main priority now was his health and recovery. It took several months of surgeries before he was finally stable. On April 24th, after weeks in the hospital, Kubica was able to leave, but the damage to his arm was severe. His right arm's mobility was limited, and there were lasting effects on his sensitivity. Yet, as with everything in Kubica's career, the story didn't end there. Just months after his life-threatening crash, Kubica returned to rallying at the Ronde Gomitolo di Lana. And just like his comeback in Formula Renault, he didn't simply return, he won. From 2013 onwards, Kubica went on with participating in lower-level rallies and managed to win a few and a world title. Yeah, you heard that right. He won a world title after all that he went through, just like that. For the next couple of years, he did rallying and GT3, and it was at the beginning of 2017 that he finally decided to come back to F1. Technically, he tested for Renault this season, and in 2019, he returned to F1. This time, it was real. He was in with a dream to win again. But just as quickly, the dream turned sour. The Williams FW42 was an absolute disaster, arguably one of the worst cars in Formula 1 history. Yet even in such circumstances, Kubica still managed to deliver what no one else could. The chaotic German Grand Prix, he clinched the team's only point of the season. However, the struggle was prevalent. Consistently battling at the back of the grid, Kubica faced the harsh truth. After the season, he stepped away from full-time racing, but stayed connected to the sport as a reserve driver for Alfa Romeo until 2021. Kubica's Formula 1 journey might not have a generic happy ending, but he got to do what he loved, fighting fate itself. And in the end, that's what matters, right? Like Kubica's story, fate can be cruel beyond reason, and sometimes claims lives far too soon, as in this heartbreaking story.